Bienvenidos. Soy la Bruja Espinada, and I am here with your full moon in Leo message. So let's get started. I'm going to do something a little bit different today, only because I feel that I was called to do so. I have these cards, and I don't recall if I've ever used it in any recent readings, to be honest. But as I said, I was called to use them. So yes, it is the snow moon in Leo. So there is a lot of energies there in regards to passion, feeling like there's a fire being lit under your ass to get things done. And for those of you that have felt the pressure of, not starting your New Year's resolutions at the beginning of the Gregorian calendar, well, we're actually entering the new month of the Gregorian calendar. We're in the second month, but we're also in a full moon. We are approaching the new lunar year, transitioning from the snake year into the fire horse year. And this being a this is actually amazing because it's the lunar new year is going to be starting into the fire horse. It is going to be because I have it all written down in my notes. It is going to be in Aquarius, so there's a lot of transition. So we are currently in the Leo moon, preparing for the fire horse in the new moon that's going to be on the 17th, I believe. Yes, the 17th. So a lot of amazing transitions, and what better way than to do something a little bit different this time around. So this deck that I'm going to pull a card from, or not pull one, but see whatever transitions out, is from the Mother Mary Oracle. I have another one of these. It's actually more in depth, but this smaller deck is the one that called up my attention as I was setting up for this reading. So let's see what the Mother Mary Oracle wants to share with you guys at this time. There is a lot of feelings that are being stirred up at this time, not because it is a water placement, but because there is a different type of emotion coming up. There are passions that are popping up at this time that need to be addressed. And so we're going to address them now. So what popped out is let's see, this beautiful card here. This is Our Lady of the Rose Crown. Our Lady of the Rose Crown says, you are crossing a threshold in your life. You have been readying yourself for this, likely without fully realizing it. It can take years of preparation to approach such a point on one's path. Our Lady watches over you with all-knowing tenderness and fierce protection. Only what you need shall come to you. Spiritual testing shall give way to deep peace and sacred fulfillment. And I pray this for you. And I pray this for me. Whoever comes across this message, I pray this for you. So that's what you needed to hear at this time. Beautiful, beautiful image. Wow. So with that beautiful blessing, let's get this reading started. Sacred Spirit Guides. Ooh, right off the cup, we have 10 of Cups. Right off the cup, we got 10 of Cups. There you go. Bottom of the deck, we have the 8 of Cups in reverse. We have the 8 of Swords, the 9 of Cups, the Hanged Man, the Knight of Cups in reverse. We have the Moon, ideal for tonight. or last night, depending on your percentages. We have the Seven of Pentacles in reverse, the Three of Wands, the Six of Wands in reverse, the Queen of Pentacles, the Three of Swords, and the Eight of Pentacles. Last one I'm going to pull. Oof, I might pull another. Might have to pull another one, but we'll see how the reading goes. We have the Magician in reverse. I believe this is the first time I've actually ever had the Magician come out in reverse. So let's get into it. Ten of Cups. This is what you've been striving for. Full emotional fulfillment, being truly happy, having everything that you've wanted, that you feel has been what you've been striving for, what's going to bring you to complete fulfillment. I apologize in advance if you catch me scratching. I actually currently have an eczema outbreak, and I'm trying to not think about it so much. So yeah, Ten of Cups, Ten of Cups, Ten of Cups. Just like as I was saying, we are in a bunch of transitions right now, right? Many people have things have popped up, right? Things may have popped up in your life where you feel as though if you were planning to make New Year's resolutions at the beginning of January, and yet you feel like other things have popped up and you haven't had the chance to get there, the best time to actually do it is on February 17th, or actually starting this month in preparation for the 17th. Now, I've always stated this, that so oh my gosh, I'm like all over the place right now. As a reminder, one of the things that you want to take into consideration is that while this is the full moon, and let's say you have not yet prepared fully for the manifestations that you would normally do, as I have encouraged in the past, to do for a full moon, you could still do it. Now, this is not this is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form, but there is an app that I would recommend if you want to know more or less what the best time frame of knowing the percentages of where exactly the full moon is or the new moon is. There's this app, and because I use it a lot, and what I love about it is it actually has a percentages, so it actually shows you like what time of the day the actual percentage in your location will be for the full moon or the new moon. So if you're planning to be like, oh, I missed it last night for whatever reason, you could see more or less the percentage that would actually help you. And it is actually called Moon Phases and Lunar Calendar, and it's, I think, called by Connect Stars, and the icon is just a moon in a moon phase. Highly recommend it. Again, I'm not sponsored. Everything that I do is free, so or free as in the readings. But I just highly recommend it if you want to have that on hand. The reason why I state this is, for example, I had my own plans set for my own things, and I had missed my days thinking that the full moon is tonight. Technically, we're still in the highest phase of the full moon right now, according to the app, in my current location. Whereas 100% was actually earlier today, like around 1 p.m. was 100%, where the full moon was at its highest peak in my location. And so I can still technically do my manifestations that I had planned to do. I have been accumulating everything that I've been ready to do, but now understanding that, or remembering that the Lunar New Year is on the 17th, I think I'm going to wait for then. Right? And so that's one of the things where if things get delayed, that's not a bad thing. That's why I'm sharing this. There's nothing bad it sucks, and it's not the greatest to accept that things happen and they don't go according to plan, because I'm a planner. I'm very type A, very big planner, and it costs me a lot, or it feels like it costs me a lot to be able to let go and not be so frustrated when things don't go according to what I have planned. But that's part of life, right? And accepting and understanding that shit happens and you have to be able to get over it and accept it and move on to a new plan, right? So, but that's one of the things when we have the 10 of Cups here, right? And just as we saw with the um, Our Lady of Rose Crown message, is that you have been readying yourself for this, likely without fully realizing it, right? And so, a lot of the times when a message like this comes up, it may seem like, well, no, it's explaining that you have been working towards this preparation. Yes, but when instances happen in which things don't go according to plan, have you ever realized when something doesn't work out, something in your past, something didn't work out, and you think back on it and you realize, oh my goodness, I cannot believe that that was a saving grace. I was protected more than I realized, which is why that relationship didn't work out, that job didn't work out, that business deal didn't go through. Like, there's always a, and we don't realize it till way later, right? But that's one of the things that comes with the 10 of Cups, that the 10 of Cups is it's completion. It's the completion, right? You've all this emotional, all these emotional experiences that you've gone through, and now you've reached a level where there is total emotional fulfillment. There is deep love, true happiness, contentment, being at bliss, um, having reached alignment, enlightenment. There's so much in this that it doesn't just mean that good things are coming, but you are in a good place, especially when better things are coming for you, right? Only what you need shall come to you. Spiritual testing shall give way to deep peace and sacred fulfillment, followed by the 10 of Cups. All of that to say this: you can't fully prepare, because sometimes something better is there waiting for you. So whatever you have planned that doesn't get there on time isn't necessarily a bad thing. And trust me, I get it. I've been there, where you're tired of waiting. You're tired, right? You're tired. Just get it over with already. Like, I'm willing to settle for here. But you're being so divinely protected that you don't realize that those that are watching over you, your higher power, your ascended ancestors, you know, whatever it is that you put your faith and trust into, is protecting you in such a way. That is why this is there. Now, interestingly enough, the 8 of Cups comes out. It's not necessarily entirely a bad thing, but as I always kind of say in my readings, this is a reminder where when it's the 8 of Cups, right, when it's the right side up, Usually it's that indicator where, and I'm always here to be like, hey, you're almost there, you're almost there. So when it's in reverse, it's because, like I said, you're at that point of like, I'm tired. I am tired. You're talking directly to your higher power, telling your higher power, I no longer want to be your strongest warrior. Please consider this my resignation. La di da, bloop, 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 bleep, 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 whatever. This is the major indicator for you to try one more time. Do not walk away. I know you guys have seen it where I haven't seen it recently. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but someone brought it up in a story that I listened to online of the image of someone who, it's usually like a cartoon, and there's someone that looks like they have a pickaxe or they have a shovel and they're shoveling, and and then they're like hunting for diamonds, and every turn that they make is like they just miss a diamond, and they just miss a diamond, and they just miss a diamond, and then there's like this much, a very small speck between them and this huge diamond, bigger than all the diamonds that they've encountered, and then they turn around and they walk away. This is a sign saying, don't turn around and walk away. Don't give up. Don't feel like what you're doing is aimless. Don't not make a decision right now. Make the decision. Don't walk away. Don't give up. Now, with that being said, the 8 of Cups is followed by another 8. And this 8 is the 8 of Swords. Now, one of the interesting things is that I always love to say, and it's been a while since I said it because I feel like we haven't had too many of the sword cards. But this particular card, as I typically will say, swords are the no bullshit card. It's about air, it's about communication. And when we have the 8 of Swords, that's just following this 8 of Cups, right? Cups being water, being emotion, specifically talking about this stance of not giving up towards what we want. There's a lot of okay, so it's the no bullshit card. However, when the 8 of Swords comes up, this, in this instance, is referring to negative self-talk, negative thought process. It has to do with mindsets. The way that you talk to yourself, the way that you learned to talk to yourself, the way that you've been taught to talk to yourself. Whereas not everyone has this, because not everyone has lived in a toxic or negative environment. But the 8 of Swords in this instance is, there's a little voice in your head, and that voice will probably say, no seas pendeja, don't be an idiot, quit being stupid, things like that. Like those little voices that wind up staying in our head that we wind up telling ourselves. This is what will lead you to walk away from something that you are so close to inheriting, achieving, gaining, earning, deserving, right? And the reason why this Swords has a lot to do with self-talk is because, not of the 9 of Cups, but because of the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man comes out because what is necessary is a change of perspective. Again, we have the 9. So we have the 10 of Cups, 8 of Cups in reverse. We have the 9 of Cups. Another step here towards the 10 of Cups. And there's a lot of, for this being a Leo full moon, going towards a fire horse lunar year, it's pretty significant concept where there's a lot of internal struggle, right? Because, and I think I've stated this before in a couple of other readings, where there's this like crazy balance between like your passions and then being emotionally stable enough to be able to handle all of this. Now, the 9 of Cups here, following the 8 of Swords, in regards to that type of talk, you want to take into consideration that there is this mental narrative versus this emotional impact, right? There is your, and I always explain this where, because it's not the same thing, and I can't convey this enough, but even I had to learn this, right? It was a long journey to wind up learning this. Whenever, and I don't know if anyone else does this, whenever I see the 1111, which is like, oh, the angel numbers, and people will be like, make a wish, it's 1111. I always do. And I haven't done it as often because I haven't seen 1111. But whenever I do see it, I always say the same thing. Like if it's my own little prayer or mantra, where I will wind up saying, I pray to be healthy of mind, body, heart, and soul, right? Or I'll say, I want to be healthy spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally. Oh my God, I forgot the other one. I think those are it. Heart, it's mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I think that's it. Yes. But my point being is that mentally and emotionally are two different things. I do not equate those to be the same thing, because being mentally well and then being emotionally well, while they sometimes will go hand in hand, are not the exact same thing. You can process things mentally and yet not be emotionally well enough to be able to express yourself or to be able to handle something, right? Or, in that like. And that's why I find it so interesting that the 8 of Swords is followed by the 9 of Cups in this instance, right? Because, again, lots of negative self-talk here. That's mental, whereas 9 of Cups is emotional. Now, the 9 of Cups, especially since, again, you're so close to this 10 of Cups here. This 9 of Cups. If you want your wish to come true, there has to be major change in perspectives. And that starts with changing this. And it's hard. I know it is. I understand it is. Because even myself, I still do that. It's very, very difficult because it's, years of being taught that that's how you are meant to acknowledge yourself. Now, I just recently participated in a training, and it was a feminine healing training. And one of the things that was taught in this class was the importance of the feminine word and how that impacts more than what most others believe. Now, one of the examples is that um, the example that was given is when you hear some random person tell you that you're dumb or that, you know, you're not worth anything, whatever. You, that could be like water off a duck's back because you don't know that person, and that person's value may not mean anything to you in your life. Versus someone like a mother, a grandmother, um, a caretaker that is feminine saying something negative to you and then it hurting you more deeply than anything. So, that being said, imagine being a very femininely embodied individual talking to yourself that way, calling yourself dumb, pendeja, mensa, an idiot. While it's being said, it's because you slightly believe it. And that's one of the things where that perspective has to change, where you have to understand the impact that that has on you when you don't let that go. And even if it's acknowledging that you didn't make a smart decision, you don't need to go and call yourself dumb, stupid, whatever, pendeja. You could always be like, well, that wasn't the smartest choice I've made. And acknowledging that. That doesn't mean that you can't acknowledge it, but just changing the way that you state that makes a huge impact. And the reason why I say this is because we have the Knight of Cups in reverse. The Hanged Man, I mean, the way that this is set up is very, very interesting. And I've taken so long just at the beginning of this because this Hanged Man makes such a huge difference in this entire reading when it comes to the Ten of Cups, the Nine of Cups. Those are both upright, but you have the Eight of Swords and the Eight of Cups right next to each other, followed by the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is really interesting to be followed by the Hanged Man because this means that there is like, what do I want to say? There is like a because we have the Nine of Cups here, a wish coming true, good things, like you're that step away from this, the Ten of Cups. There's something else that's kind of keeping you back that has to do with this negative self-talk. It could be that you're an overthinker, that you, and I state this because overthinking can sometimes lead to like unrealistic ideals or thought processes that can hinder you as well, that can cause like overactive imagination. This can also lead to emotional ups and downs, being moody, not wanting to deal with anybody, giving up quickly, which is another thing of like walking away, stepping away from things that you're just so close to because you're like, oh, I'm just sick of this, and you just give up because you're overthinking a lot of things. You're not giving yourself that opportunity. So one of the things that you need to do for in this full moon, because the moon is here, this has a lot to do with intuition, right? This has a lot to do with intuition, going within. And it's really interesting because one of the cards that I did not pull it's over here is the Hermit, and the Hermit card is in reverse. The Hermit card is usually upright, and that's an indicator, especially when the moon is in the reading, that you have to go within and really start working on yourself introspectively. So when we have the moon card is intuition, right? You're trusting your gut. But when you have this Knight of Cups in reverse and you're overthinking, you're no longer trusting your gut. That's why you're overthinking, because you're not trusting yourself enough. And if you have this negative self-talk, how are you going to trust yourself if you keep putting yourself down? Ah! That had to come out. That had to come out. That had to come out for somebody, because man, was it there. But again, interestingly enough, the next card that we have besides after the moon, we do have the Seven of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles is in reverse. Now, the Seven of Pentacles has long since become one of my favorite cards, because the Seven of Pentacles is if you are someone who is admittedly impatient, you don't like this card. You wouldn't like this card, because the Seven of Pentacles is the card that signifies that you've planted all your seeds, you've done all the preparation work, you've already planted everything, the conditions are optimal for what you have planted to start growing. And in the Rider-Waite deck, it's seen as someone standing with a gardening tool, and they're leaning like this over it, looking at their garden, waiting for something to grow. That's why this has long since become my favorite card, because as someone who was very, very impatient, the Seven of Pentacles is that indicator of being patient. You can't just stand around and watch something grow. You have to come to terms with walking away. But in this instance, this card is in reverse. So what does that mean? When the Seven of Pentacles in this instance is in reverse, one of the things that we have to take into consideration is which makes sense when it comes with the Knight of Cups and the Eight of Swords, is that because you're not looking at the long term of this, that is why you're more prone to walk away, because you're not looking at the long term. Now, recently, and it's actually come up for me too recently, or like too repetitively, even for myself, is that you have to sit down and make a plan. And make the plan for the next 5 years. And I've said this before in other readings, where a lot of the times when we are praying for this monumental success, this monetary gain that's so big that we feel it's going to solve all our problems, we actually aren't even truly prepared for when we receive that. Right? Like, we don't have the financial education to be able to spend wisely. You know, all we typically would consider is like, I'm gonna pay off all my debt, I'm gonna do all these amazing things, without considering how to continue maintaining that wealth for our future, right? So they can sustain us long term. What are you gonna? And that's one of the things where we have to get educated about those things. Now, in this instance, this Seven of Pentacles is trying to tell you, okay, you've been working hard for this, but how are you going to sustain that long term? Right? And so that's why this is here. This is why it's telling you, you got to start trusting your gut. You have to start using that to make a plan. And you can't just let it fall to giving up because you're overthinking. Because part of that overthinking is because you're not sure. Overthinking is because there is something that you don't trust. And if you're not trusting your gut, you're not preparing or properly planning. So all this overthinking can be better put to use into actually actively making a plan to keep you sustained, to keep you ready, to keep you moving towards making sure that your future is going to be sustainable for long term, so you don't have to worry emotionally, because you'll be good, right? Now, that's a bop. So here we go. We're going to continue this. So here's that plan. We're going to make a plan. Now, let's say you're like 5 years, I don't know, start making a plan. Sit down. Perfect night to start making a plan. Genuinely making a plan. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? What would you ideally like to be doing 5 years from now? So let's say in 5 years you think about it, this is how I envision myself. Okay, now how now am I gonna make sure that 5 years later me, what are the steps that I've taken to make sure that 5 years later me is happy? Right? And so you can say, like, I've been doing that this whole entire time, not with this overthinking, not with walking away, not with talking to yourself the way that you do. That perspective needs to change, right? You want to be happy, you're almost there. That wish is going to come true. You got to continue putting in that work. It's not going to just do it itself. Now, instead of wasting your time overthinking, how about you turn that into something positive and you start making that plan that you need to make sure that that long-term result is going to continue being long-term. Ooh, ooh, that was for someone out there. For a few, you actually. You're getting what you want. Make sure that it's going to be sustainable. Now, don't quit on yourself, because a lot of the times it's like we get something good and then we like, okay, that's it, and we quit doing the work. The work don't stop. The work don't stop. The work is continuous. You never find your true balance. You're always working on being balanced. And this coming from a Libra. Now, we have the Three of Wands. This is an amazing card to have because this means progress. This means expansion. This means that there's bigger opportunities that are coming to you. That means something's being built, especially after seeing this Seven of Pentacles, you know, that lack of vision, it's there. It's happening. You can't give up on yourself. You're so damn close. That's what this is telling you. I'm just here telling you what you already know. I'm here to serve as that reminder for you. You are here to hear what you need to hear. I'm not here to tell you what you want. I'm here to tell you what you need to hear. That's what she's reinforcing. Only what you need shall come to you. Okay, so let us continue. So after the Three of Wands, we do have the Six of Wands in reverse. What does this mean? So, you could be like, you're all over the place. I feel like I'm all over the place. But that's because there's a lot of what you're doing versus what you have to do, right? And we're deciphering the two of them. So, remember, you're so close. These are the reminders that you need to have that perspective shift. Quit having those negative self-talks. Now, when we have the Six of Wands in reverse, the Six of Wands is typically an indicator of success, right? But it could be a couple of things, right? Now, this doesn't necessarily mean entirely that it's a bad thing. Okay. It's not entirely a bad thing. It's just a word of caution. So, the Six of Wands, like the Six of Swords, they're both indicators of a victory. There is success. There is a triumph, right? And it's not without some type of sadness, right? Because there's no war is ever won without casualties. And so the Six of Wands here is just that indicator that there is going to be personal achievement. There is going to be some type of growth. There is going to be some type of gain. But this can also be a check to not let your ego get the best of you. Okay, especially because it's followed by the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is someone who has earned their bag. They know, they've learned to manage their resources, their wealth, their finances. They've become so knowledgeable in this state. But one of the things is that you can't let that get to your head, right? You shouldn't let it get to your head. So that's one of these things, right? We've seen or we've heard in some instances where people come upon financial gain, and then there's people that will say, oh, money changed them, right? And that's kind of what this indicator is that yes, you've worked really hard, but don't let the ego get the best of you, right? Remember what it took for you to get to where you were. Be humble. That's basically what it's saying. Because if you're not, we're followed with the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords is heartache, it's pain, it's usually is depicted by the heart with the three swords going through. Excuse me. It's pain. It's heartache. Because, I mean, your ego is your biggest enemy. Anyone's ego is their biggest enemy, right? Now, it's not entirely ending in a completely bad note. It's just a reminder. It's just a note to take into consideration. You know, you beat yourself up enough as it is, and you know your biggest you're like a self-sabotager usually, and you're your own biggest enemy. And that's one of the things where we see this in regards to being emotionally well, you know, is not letting your ego get the best of you, you know. And that's why, you know, seeing that, you know, with the Queen of Pentacles, reaching everything you've been working so hard for that to be followed with pain, that doesn't mean that you're going to feel pain. Pain's around the corner no matter where you are, right? As long as you're alive, you're capable of feeling pain. But in this instance, if you stay realistic about being humble, you know, there's less pain to feel because you're more objective in that sense. This is why the moon is also here, because you have to be able to trust your gut with the decisions that you make in this sense. You know, there's grief, there's pain, things like that. But it's also followed by the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. What do these mean when they're followed by together? And then we have the Magician in reverse. Really, really interesting that we have that as well. But the Eight of Pentacles in reverse is I'm trying to think of how I want to say it. Remember, as I was saying, one of the things you want to take into consideration is that long-term plan, right? With that ego. Some individuals, when they let their ego get the best of them, and then they hear remarks from people on how money has changed them or how these new resources has changed this individual, it hurts. It hurts your heart. It does hurt more than the person would like to believe. And then they overcompensate. They buy more things that they don't need, right? Or they allow the resources to become ridiculous at a certain point. Whereas, let's say all you use your vehicle for is to drive to work and back, and then you buy a really ridiculously expensive vehicle that you genuinely don't need, that's constantly breaking down because it's really just for looks, and you're wasting all that money, right? And then it becomes frivolous spending, and you're really not helping anybody in that sense. And you're like, people have that mindset of like, well, no one helped me. And it's like, well, that's where you start to make that difference. How can you change the world so that the world can't continue to be how the world treated you before you got to where you were? The universe is about reciprocity. You don't get just to get. You worked hard and you gave, and there were little pieces of you that you gave to people that genuinely appreciated it, and that worked in your favor. So just be cautious in when you're developing yourself, that you don't let ego conquer you as you become the Queen of Pentacles. Now we have the Magician in reverse. These are reminders, right? This isn't wholly ending on a completely negative note. It's just that reminder of like, hey, just be cautious of these possibilities, right? Now, the Magician. The Magician in reverse. The Magician, usually when the Magician comes out, they are a reminder of everything that you're capable of, everything that you have the power to change, to manifest, to create, to work in your favor. And yet, when the Magician comes out in reverse, again, it could be poor planning, it could be poor planning, it could be one, right? It could be in that concept of like not planning properly, missing a step, like, but that's where, like, when I say make sure you make that list, and starting that preparation of how you're building, is you don't want to miss anything. You know, one of the things that if this is in regards to resources, making sure that, hey, all the resources that have helped you, or all those like people that have helped you, you don't forget that they helped you, and send a thank you card, a thank you note, make that acknowledgement of like, hey, without them, you know, I genuinely appreciate them. Give people, you know, their due credit, just like you deserve your due credit. Make sure that that doesn't go unseen, right? That's one thing. Don't manipulate anyone. Big thing. But it can also mean that there's a couple of things that you haven't taken into consideration in regards to like skills that you have that you haven't actually put into use. Like, don't forget about those skills. They're there for a reason, right? Utilize all the skills that you have. So think about it. As you're planning, right? As you're planning this next 5 years, because I need to do that too. I've had my constant reminders of them. One of the things that you want to take into consideration is think about those skills. How can you utilize your skills as you're building this life in the next 5 years? What are those skills going to do to help others, to help yourself, to continue sustaining this success that you're going to have long term, that you want to continue happening? But one of the things is that, again, we have the Hermit. I'm going to pull this one and one last card. So the Hermit in reverse. This is, again, just a reminder. A lot of this can be pretty heavy, especially when you're working as hard as you are to get to achieve what it is that you're trying to achieve. But don't wholly withdraw yourself as you're doing this. Reach out to people. People are there for you. That's why you're building up to deserve what you deserve, because there's people that pray for you, that hope the best for you. Don't think that you're alone in this. Sometimes it feels like it because everyone's going through something right now. That doesn't mean that you're alone. Now, it's good to withdraw sometimes to be able to start working on connecting with yourself within, but don't fully isolate yourself. Just a reminder for some of you. Now, I'm going to end with this card. We have the High Priestess. Beautiful card to end on. The High Priestess is that bitch, is that reminder that you are that bitch. You're the baddest bitch. You're the baddest person that there is. You are so powerful. You're so capable. Don't let it get to your head. But it's just that reminder that you are. And you are deserving of everything you've worked so hard for. Just don't let that all that difficulty sour you. Don't let it sour your mindset, so that you truly are the happiest and healthiest that you can be mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, and you're going to be able to get that done. Now, let's finish with these cards. Let's see if we're going to get something for the mighty fates. Do you have anything to add to this message, mighty fates? Please, if you can, one card. Ooh. We do. We have fate. How interesting. We have fate. A beautiful little egg there. Let's see what fate has in store for you, us. Fate. Here we go. The fate card says, let's see if we can get it. There we go. The fate card says, this card is a reminder that you create your fate. Ooh, perfect, especially right after the High Priestess. While some lessons and experiences are inescapable, we have free will and choice between, let me reread that. While some lessons and experiences are inescapable, we have free will and choice within the life we are given. This does not always equal fairness, as we do not all start life from the same footing. Nonetheless, each choice we make matters. From this place, we can approach the creation of our life in an empowered way. This deck was inspired by the Norns, 3 mystical figures that rule the destiny of humans within Norse mythology. The name Norn derives from a word meaning to twine, referring to how they weave the threads of fate. Fate is seen as a malleable thing with some fixed aspects. This card's partner is the Weaver. The Weaver asks you to tend to the threads. This card asks you to get clear on the fate you are weaving. This card is big. Picture an all about vision. What are you working towards? What are you saying no to? When we say no, are we saying no to all the experiences that would unfold in the aftermath? Both the yes and the no is powerful when we are creating our reality. So big when we have touched on the concept of walking away, the concept of overthinking, the concept of not having a full plan ready, and that reminder that you're building something and you have that magic and power to do so. This is so, I can't make this shit up. There you go. Oh, sorry, wrong side. There you go. That's fate for you. That is fate. Woo! This is the longest reading I've done yet. Animal spirit guides, do you have one last thing to add to this reading? Please let it be one card, because I'm trying to keep, and it is. Thank you. We have, this is so perfect. We have the Coyote Spirit. Trust in divine detours. Remember, detours happen. You gotta be absolutely okay with that. So here we go. Coyote Spirit. Do you find that you're being led on a strange detour in your life right now? Does it seem that what appears to be the next right action and the right choice, best situation, or fabulous relationship unexpectedly turns into the opposite, or just disappears into thin air, as if you've been tricked? Coyote Spirit's trickster energy is designed to bring you into situations to teach you lessons you have forgotten to learn. Perhaps you need a taste of failure before you experience success, a need to feel disappointment before you can truly appreciate the joy, love, and prosperity that is coming up for you. Perhaps you're revisiting a pattern you forgot wasn't in alignment with the life you are intending to co create. Being reminded that gratitude, not complacency, will keep you awake and aware of all that is available to you in this moment. Coyote Spirit reminds you to laugh about the unexpected twists, to develop humility and gratitude while releasing your attachments to the form of your desires. Even when you suddenly find yourself on a detour, wondering when you will get back on track to manifesting what you desire, remember that Spirit has a plan and wants the best for you. Trust in divine order now. Coyote Spirit is a divine helper. No matter what seems to go astray, things are exactly as they are supposed to be. Sometimes a goal is so enticing and alluring that you lose your footing in pursuit. You begin to fixate on capturing this prize, whether it is an opportunity you have always wanted, a relationship with that elusive someone, or the promise of that big break. Coyote Spirit warns you that this trickster energy seducing you now will yield nothing but disappointment and unnecessary heartache if you let yourself be fooled. Great Spirit wants the best for you. So when your plans go topsy-turvy, know that Coyote Spirit is present to protect and bless you. Listen to her gentle warning not to take the world too seriously or become too attached to the form and timing of your desire. Something better is beckoning. If you learn your lessons and lighten your heart, it will not be long before you see that crooked, though the path may have been, you were on the right one all along. I can't make this shit up. You see me shuffle live, guys. Oh my God. Okay. Woo. And imagine that I did not anticipate having used the Mother Mary Oracle deck today. Spiritual testing shall give way to deep peace and sacred fulfillment. I genuinely hope this message helps, and I'll see you guys next time.